Alright, I'm going to show you how to create the assembly file for your autonomous design. The first thing you're going to want to do is download the zip file. So you'll click to download that. Once you have it downloaded, you're going to want to save that into your H drive. So I'm going to click on my folders here. I'm going to go to my downloads. And where I have the autonomous simulation folder, I'm going to want to move that over here to my H drive. Once I have that in my H drive, I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say I want to extract the files, and I'll click extract. When all those files are extracted, you're going to want to take the cam that you designed and you're going to want to put it into the autonomous simulation folder. Alright, and once you have that complete, we're ready to start working on the motion assembly for your cam. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and open the assembly file. So again, I'm going to find my H drive. I'm going to find the autonomous simulation folder. I'm going to put my cam part into that folder, and then I'm going to want to open the assembly file autonomous simulation test, and so I'll go ahead and open that folder. You'll see here that we have several parts placed in this assembly. We're going to use this to get some information about your cam design, so don't do too much messing around with the ruler and things that are located in this file, because we'll want to keep those right where they're at. You'll want to place your cam into the assembly, so I'll go ahead and click place. Again, I'll find that cam that I designed on my H drive, and I can go ahead and open that cam within the assembly. Once I have the cam open, I can go ahead and click to place one instance of the cam, and then I can hit escape on my keyboard after that cam is placed, and you can notice now that your cam should be placed in your assembly. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to constrain this cam so that it is in line with our axle and our follower rod. So the first thing that I am going to do is under the follower, I'm going to click the arrow by it, and you can see that I have a work plane set up here that says mate with midplane of cam. I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to turn on the visibility of that work plane. So once you have that done, you can go ahead and click constrain, and I'm going to constrain this work plane so it's mated with the work plane that we just created on our cam, and your cam should turn like it did right there for me, and I'm going to go ahead and click apply. The next constraint we're going to add is the axis constraint. I'm going to click on that, and I want to mate that to the axis of our axle, and you can go ahead and click apply. I'm going to have you go ahead and close out of the constraint now, and I want you to see what happens when I turn the axle. The cam doesn't rotate, and so the cam is constrained. It'll rotate on its own right now, but it will not rotate with the axle, and so that's the next constraint we're going to add. So I am going to mate the plane that runs through the axle with the other work plane on our cam, so that in my case it's a smaller work plane, and then I'll go ahead and hit apply, and I can see now when I turn my follower rod, my cam turns with the follower rod. Okay. The next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to constrain the follower to our actual cam so we can see that motion. And so to do that, I'm going to hit constrain again. This time I'm going to click on a transitional constraint, And so when I do that, I'm going to want to come down and zoom into my follower rod, and I'm going to wait until I get that surface selected. And if you can't get it selected, you can go ahead and rotate your model around so you can see it a little better. But I want the underside surface of that follower rod, so I'll go ahead and hit Constraint, Transitional, I'll click that surface, and then I can click on the surface of my cam, and it will put those two surfaces together, and I can click Apply. And so I'm going to go back to my view cube and click Home so that I can see what I've done here. Now notice when I turn the axle, the cam causes that linear motion of the follower to move up. So that's the constraint that we've added. The last constraint we're going to want to add is going to be used for when we test our linear motion of our cam. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit Constraint again, and this time I'm going to put an angular constraint. So under Type, I'll click Angular. I'm going to click on Directed Angle, the first option, and I'm going to click the plane that is going through my axle, and I'm going to click the plane that corresponds with on the follower. So when I click those two planes, we've put them together and they're at an angle of 0 degrees. And so I'm going to go ahead and click Apply, and we know that they're at an angle of 0 degrees right now. So once you have that done, you should not be able to turn this now because we've applied that constraint to it. The thing that I'm going to have you do now is turn off the mate midplane work plane. So I'm going to turn the visibility off of that, and it's going to be easier to read some of these dimensions when we're ready for the next step of our project.